All right, so thanks for showing interest in the custom wood enclosures that I've been building. This one over to the right here is for a Nord. I don't know if you can see it, but this was the original one that I built just for myself, and some people liked it, and so I started building more of them, and then eventually selling them. But what these use, the inside guts are an Alesis Q25, which is this guy here. Okay, it's real basic, doesn't have any bells and whistles. I set the MIDI channel to MIDI channel 1, and then it's got all the connections here. You've got 9-volt power supply, you have USB, a MIDI out, and then a sustain. None of that is modified, everything works. So on the back of this you get all the same connections. The only thing that's modified is, if you notice here, you've got 3 buttons. Here you have 2. I took out the middle button only because it's set to MIDI channel 1, and basically you get a lot of the control here where you can change MIDI channel, you can change certain things. Usually MIDI channel is what most people would want to change. But it was just kind of something where I said, well, in a live environment, you're not really going to be doing any of that. And that's really what this was intended for. The other thing it's intended for is, I've owned a lot of rack synths, and what I noticed is when you have a keyboard connected to them, in this, something like this, you tend to use it. Whereas if it's racked up, it just sort of stays there. And unless there's a specific need or purpose, where you're creating something where you need a particular tone, you remember, oh, I can get that from this particular synth, then you go and you dig it out, or connect it and route everything to make it work. Whereas this is kind of just ready to go. It's kind of more of an inspiring thing where you can do something fun and quick without having to connect anything. It's just kind of ready to go. What I've actually done is hooked up a MIDI merger to where I can take the output of this, put it into the MIDI merger, take the output of my DAW MIDI and put that into the MIDI merger, and then the one output here. So I can control from here, I can also control from my DAW. And that seemed to work really well, because I'm not doing much live stuff. But for live, it's a real simple connection in the back, just like you would any synthesizer. The only difference is you're gonna need a separate power supply for the Q25, which will work either USB or it'll work off of the 9-volt power supply, which I supply. Okay, so I just wanted to kind of give you a quick demonstration of this. These also come in a 29 key version, and what I use to make that is a Alesis Q49. And the way the boards are, there's a break in the board, so they have 29 key, and then the remainder of the keys, it's a small little 20 key board. Actually, the little what do they call it, the pressure board, contact plate or contact board. So they break it up, and so I took the 29 keys and used that. Same goes for the Alesis Q61. They break it up where there's 32 key. So I can make a 32 key if I get a Alesis Q61. The Q61s are a little harder to get, and they're more expensive. So of course the cost goes up, but I find them every now and again for a good deal, and I clean them up, make sure everything works. If something doesn't work, then I'll let you know in the ad. Like this doesn't respond to velocity. So even if velocity doesn't work on the keyboard, which the Q61 I found out I had one that didn't work, it doesn't really matter as long as you're using it for this application. If you're going to use it for your DAW or something, then yeah, I wouldn't suggest it. But the Q61, I've only had one that the velocity didn't work ever. So, and I told the guy about it, and he was using it strictly for the Model D, so it didn't really matter. Anyway, so let me just demo this real quick. Everything works as you would kind of expect. You have your pitch. And of course you have your modulation. And the modulation actually controls the mod depth on the Model D. It's exactly the same function. And of course you have your octave here. And that's basically it. Really not much to it.